Roundup. These are the stories we are tracking ahead of tomorrow's open. Still with me, Matt, Olivia, also joining us today. Special appearance by Bloomberg Businessweek's Brendan Greeley. And, of course, you know, Blair, Rosenblatt, Securities Analyst. Olivia is starting it off for us, talking banks.
Yep, we're talking banks, and they are making big bucks on overdraft fees. According to an annual study done by the Pew Charitable Trust, checking accounts are now coming with more disclosures about possible penalties and fees than ever before. The Pew Charitable Trust estimates that consumers pay about $32 billion in overdraft fees, and that was what they paid in 2012. The median penalty was $35.
Wow.
Pew also did a survey that found that checking account policies and disclosures cover about 65% of checking deposits in 44 of the 50 largest
What happened to overdraft protection?
That's incredible.
You know,
not every bank has overdraft.
And the people that are overdrawing, you would think, are the ones that don't have a lot of money. So
and that's what's unfortunate. It feels like some of these tactics are preying on people who are actually having financial problems already, exacerbating their existing problems.
I get that, and believe me, I've paid my fair share of overdraft fees. You know when you're writing a check that you can't cover.
Sure.
Well, you know when you're doing.
So
for the most part, what, 95% of the people know that they're doing it?
One of the other things that they do is that they reorder the way the checks are coming.
I get that.
They're paying
I get that, and that's totally unfair. But for the most part, when I write a check that I can't cover, I know I'm doing it, and I realize I'm going to get hit with that fee.
Right.
Then charge $5.
I'm the last person you want to give overdraft protection to, because guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to overdraw my account all the time.
This is true. We had a colleague who had a birthday the other day, and we went to Magnolia to get some cupcakes, and I had to pay because Matt had maxed out his card.
Then charge $5, charge $10, give them a nice little reminder. Don't kill them with $40 or higher charges for this.
It seems like too steep a penalty. I mean, between that and the darn ATM fees.
Horrible.
Do you know that I have an ATM in my building that charges $5?
Yeah, that makes me more angry than overdraft fees.
Only in Manhattan.
But
that's
Pew is actually reforming them. This is what I think is interesting, is that Pew has come up with a list of best practices and a very simple form that banks can fill out saying these are exactly what our conditions are. And more banks are voluntarily doing what Pew has asked.
They've done a great job of disclosing fees. I agree with that. But how many people get a chance to take a look at all the various ways that your bank can charge you? Your average guy is not looking at that. And I think that's what's hard for consumers to stomach, is that we don't know all the various places that we're going to get charged until we get our monthly statement.
I wish Pew were doing this for disclosure agreements on tech companies. When I buy an Apple product, you know, I want the exact same thing as well.
Sure, well, but they want to keep it simple at Apple, so they're not going to try and give you 10 pages of disclosures.
They're going to give you 45 instead,
Anyway, let me move on to Burger King here. Burger King may be sneaking into a new market, expanding into Crimea. An interview with Itar Tass, the Burger King CEO said, quote, "We are planning to open in Crimea, but I cannot say when exactly it will happen or how many outlets the company will have there." So it may be in 10 years, it may be in 20 years. Apparently, McDonald's moved out, shut down, and moved its operations out of Crimea, which I don't get. Why do Russian citizens not like eating McDonald's?
Trouble supplying.
They're saying manufacturing issues are the reason, which just means logistical supply issues. At the end of the day, there's 2 million people in Crimea. They want burgers. If they can't get McDonald's burgers, Burger King is going to supply.
Well, Burger King makes better hamburgers than McDonald's.
But I mean, McDonald's.
They do.
McDonald's was having the same.
Better at McDonald's.
Right.
But I mean, McDonald's is going to have the same logistical problems that Russia is going to have in supplying Crimea. You know, you sort of like, McDonald's couldn't build a bridge. Maybe Russia can do that.
So Burger King has a huge presence over there. I think that they have maybe 200 or so stores. They've only been there for like 4 years. So they've got the ability to supply, and if they can jump on a market with 2 million people, they're going to do it. This is a great opportunity for them. It's a great marketing opportunity.
I hope they get Wendy's over there. I feel like democracy would flourish more in countries that have Wendy's. Because it's such a good burger.
I mean, if we have to have Arby's, can't they?
Come on.
No. The communists can have all of the Arby's.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Who goes there? Who goes to Arby's?
Apparently not communist.
No, I just want to ship them all over there.
I know somewhere.
What did I say about Arby's?
The communists are.
Anybody still have a BlackBerry here?
Yes.
BlackBerry. Do you?
I love it. I have to.
Really? It's got a nice keyboard.
In my pocket.
So retro.
I lost mine, and I have not yet.
You gave up?
I just went.
I don't believe Olivia has a BlackBerry in her pocket. I'm going to go on record saying I do not believe you have one in your pocket.
No, I have one in my desk.
Okay, well, we're talking about BlackBerry, folks, because CEO John Chen is giving himself 2 years, that's it, to overhaul the smartphone maker. maker and offset declining handset demand with sales of software that connects computers with all manner of machines, from cars to heart monitors. Chen, he took over as CEO back in November. He's stepping up BlackBerry's reliance on business customers instead of the smartphones that made the company famous. In an interview with Bloomberg yesterday, he said, and I quote, "I don't have a plan to get rid of handsets. I have a plan to not be dependent on handsets." Well, that's probably a good idea.
So, Trish, that was actually a response to, I think, a real mistake that he made in saying that he would be willing to shed off the hardware unit if it wasn't profitable. And even if that's true, I don't think he's doing anybody a service by suggesting he's willing to sell off BlackBerry's core business. This really is not a great software company. This has been a hardware company, and you probably have yours still because of the keyboard.
I'll tell you what, Brian. This is a business strategy that's been very popular. I interviewed Dinesh Paliwal a couple days ago from Harman Kardon. He's basically saying the same thing. We're going to go all software. Yeah, we'll still do hardware where we can make margin on it, but for the most part, we're going to switch our company all to software. This is what John Chen is saying, too, and guess what he bought from Dinesh Paliwal 3 years ago? QNX.
Right, which, by the way, is the basis of the new BlackBerries that haven't been selling. So, in other words, to suggest that he can coast on that software, which has been totally dumped by consumers that enterprise does not want, I think is not a great way to lay out your future plans.
How many fold back?
My favorite line from this article was the one that came right after the quote we just read, which is, Chen says, "All I need to do is replace the handset revenue, and this company will be very different."
NVD.
That's all I need to do is get Scarlett Johansson to marry me, and then I will be married to Scarlett Johansson.
Dude, you are married already.
I know I'm married already.
You can't say something like that. What if your wife is watching?
She's working right now. My kids
You
watch,
would be in
though.
so much trouble with your girlfriend if that was said.
That is true. I would never say something like that.
You'd be broken up by now.
I'm not attracted to Scarlett Johansson at all.
Not even a little
Not even a little bit. Not even those pouty lips of hers.
No.
You're in trouble.
It's the Miley segments that get you going. I've been here long enough to see that happen.
It's a wrecking ball to my relationship.
Swedish girls.
Yeah, citizens of Sweden have just lucked out with a 6-hour working day. According to a report from The Atlantic, the Swedish city of Gothenburg is considering a year-long trial that would allow for a test or a control group of workers to only work 6 hours a day as opposed to the traditional 8. So, as everyone...
6 or 8 hours a day.
Sometimes I work a 6-hour day.
That is true, you do, but nobody else
sometimes I work a 12-hour day. It's a free country, we work in a free company, but I think it's great.
This was actually tested back in 1930 by Kellogg, the cereal magnate. He actually tried this out. He took factory workers, and instead of having them work 8 hours, he had them work a solid 6. He saved money. There were a lot of efficiencies. Yeah. The bottom line is 6 hours straight in a lot of jobs without a break would be really brutal.
Wait, no break? I think the Swedes are going to give you a break.
I think they probably will give a break. But the fact is that it's all about efficiency. And what I understand that countries like Luxembourg, #1 in efficiency. They get in there, they get the job done, they're working the whole time. Yeah. Around the world, people are spending time on social networks. There's definitely not as much productivity.
You can do it all in 6 hours.
Among the longest hours are worked by the Greeks.
That's exactly right. Which surprised me.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think the relationship between hours worked and productivity and quality of life is pretty complex, right, overall. Did you see what the French did recently?
Yes.
The French unions have said that after 6 p.m., you have to turn off your phone.
Leave your employee alone. You
but
can't
not
reach out
just
to your
like
employee.
French bureaucrats. If you're French and work at Google, Facebook, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers in France, you have to turn your phone off and
fantastic.
you get fired.
I love it.
You want the government telling you to turn off your phone?
I'm not one for government intervention.
No, I want the government telling my boss not to call me.
The thing is, I'm not one for government intervention in this country, but in France, they're all about government intervention. If you're going to do it, then do it right. I'm all for it.
It would be nice to know. It would be nice to know, though, that you're not going to get bothered by your boss at 10 or 11 p.m. It might be nice for some people to know that.
This is why it is not great to start a business in France.